Hello, friends, and welcome to section 2 with me, your instructor. My name is Jones. So, we're continuing with the church heritage course, and this is section 2, Heralds of the Advent Message. So, the time period for the section 2 is from 1755 to 1843. So, whatever we'll be talking about during this section will be in that time period. Will have taken place during this time period, 1755 to 1843. So the first thing we're going to look at is the three spectacular signs. Okay, so there were signs that were occurring during this time period, or things that were happening in the natural world which were more than were extraordinary. Okay, so let me just read this. During this time period, the 1755 to 1843, numerous spectacular signs appeared in the natural world, which were interpreted by theologians and secular media alike as portents of grave things to come, maybe even the second coming of Christ. All right, so let's go further and let's go right down to the three spectacular signs. All right, so the first of these signs occurred in 1755. The first sign occurred in 1755 and is known as the Great Lisbon Earthquake. The Great Lisbon Earthquake. It was covering a region of more than 4 million square miles, or 6.4 million square kilometers. Okay, so this is it was a large earthquake, and that's why it's known as the Great Lisbon Earthquake. That's the first spectacular sign that was experienced or that was seen during this time period. Okay, so take note of that, because you usually be examined during time chart, or questions will come on this, and you're supposed to know when the Great Lisbon Earthquake took place. Okay, so further, the earthquake was a fulfillment, or is a fulfillment of the prophecy that is found in Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 and 13. All right, so the fulfillment of the prophecy connected to the opening of the sixth seal of Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 and 13. So in case you are asked, like, where in the Bible is the fulfillment of the great, or where in the Bible do we find the Great Lisbon Earthquake? It's Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 and 13. This is the first sign that was in 1755. Okay, then 25 years later there was a second sign, which is fulfilled in Mark chapter 13 verse 24, which was a prophecy of Mark chapter 13 verse 24. When you read Mark chapter 13 verse 24, it says, in those days after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened and the moon shall not give her light. This was a prophecy given by Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is the second event that occurred. It is known as the dark day of May 19, 1780. So it was 25 years later, after the Great Lisbon Earthquake, that the second sign occurred, and it was the dark day, and it occurred on May 19th, 1780. There was total darkness. Okay, there was total darkness on May 19, 1780, and it is known as the dark day. It is known as the dark day. Thank you. It is known as the dark day. All right. The third sign. Okay, now the third sign, which is the falling of stars, is described as streams of fire coming down from heaven, falling as thick as snowflakes in a snowstorm, like a rain of fire, making the night so light that people thought that the houses near them must be on fire. So remember this. The first sign, 1755, known as the Great Lisbon Earthquake. The second sign, the dark day, May 19, 1780. fulfillment of the prophecy in Mark chapter 13 verse 24. The first sign is the fulfillment of the prophecy of Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 and 13. The third sign, which is known as the falling of stars, was on November 13, 1833, and is also a fulfillment of the prophecy in Revelation chapter 6 verse 12 and 13. So the falling of stars was described as streams of fire coming down from heaven, and also falling as thick as snowflakes in a snowstorm. All right. So many people that were observing this, they thought that the houses near them were burning, okay, or were on fire, because the way the stars were falling, they were so shiny that it seemed like there's a fire around. Okay, so remember this. The first sign, 1755, the Great Lisbon earthquake. Second sign, the Dark Day, 1780, that is 25 years later. And finally, the third sign was on November 13, 1833. Okay, so these are the three spectacular signs. Let's go to the next part. Now, the next part, we want to look at the three angels' message. Okay, so now we're just from looking at the three spectacular signs. Now I want to look at the three angels' message. Okay, so the three angels' message are found in the book of Revelation chapter 14 verse 7 to 9. So 7 to 9, if you count 7, 8, 9, those are three verses, and that's where we find the three angels' message. So on verse 7 we find the first angel's message, verse 8 we find the second angel's message, and verse 9 we find the third angel's message. So here we're just going to look at the brief summary, because mostly in the exam, or you'll be asked to write the summary of the three angels' message. Okay, it's important though that you also read the Bible and you just know how the full version of the three angels' message. But here is a summary we're going to look at. Okay, so the first angel's message calls to give allegiance to God, the creator of heavens and earth, and warns that the judgment hour has come. So the first angel's message calls to give allegiance to God and the creator of the heavens and the earth, and warns that the judgment hour has come. So this is on Revelation chapter 14 verse 7. The second angel's message declares that spiritual Babylon has fallen. And this is Revelation 14 verse 8. Finally, the third angel's message warns men and women living in the time of the remnant. Remember the remnant we mentioned in our first section, that this is a church in the last period. Okay, so the third angel's message warns men and women living in the time of the remnant church against receiving the mark of the beast. So you can even say warns men and women living in the last period of the church against receiving the mark of the beast. So this is Revelation chapter 14 verse 9. All right, Revelation chapter 14 verse 9. Okay, so for this video, this is the part we're going to look at. So we've looked at the three spectacular signs and the three angels' message. In the next video, we're going to be looking at Advent ambassadors in America and other regions. We're going to be looking at Advent ambassadors in America and other regions. This is where we're going to go into details about William Miller and other Advent ambassadors like Charles Fitch, Sylvester Bliss, and the others. Okay, so please be sure to give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and also feel free to share this video with whomever you want. With me, your instructor, Jones Mbuso, I say see you in the next video. Thank you.